Hello, everyone. I all hope you had a very, very wonderful, great day indeed, and a very, very beautiful day indeed as well. As you can see, guys, the weather is a bit cloudy and sunny, but it is still hot and it's still unpredictable as well, which is why they call it global warming. Despite that, guys, I'm very, very grateful for your support in viewing and watching my episodes, especially from those of you guys from shorts and also from the long videos. Means gratefully a lot. Can you also please, guys, try to subscribe as well? It will also gratefully mean a lot to me as well. But despite that, I'm very grateful for your support in watching and in viewing my episodes and also watching them. So gratefully, truly means a lot to me. And also, God bless you all, guys. God bless you all completely. In today's episode, we're to speak about a superhero known as Origin Boy, who is a member of the Universal Hero and of the New Alliance, and who's also the son of Superior Woman and also the son of Universal Boy, who bears the surnames of Rick Superior of Rick Superior and Rick Superior Ferris Unity Hellfire. He bears those surnames because of Universal Boy, known as Will Ferris Unity, known as Will Ferris Unity Hellfire, because of Will Ferris Unity's father, who was biological, and also who is also his stepfather, who quietly raised him when his real father became a very powerful supervillain and a deadly psychopath, and his other father raised him completely. So Rick Superior Ferris Unity Hellfire bears those surnames because of his father's surnames, and because of his mother's surnames as well. But despite that, Rick was quietly born into the future before he came into the present time in order to help the Universal Hero fight the sinister threats and the forces of evil in the present time before they can alter the future and the rest of sacred history in the process to further their ultimate goals, to further their plans and their ultimate goals for soul control and for soul domination over the rest of mankind and over the rest of the known universe and the known worlds and the sacred universe and the sacred world in the process, to remain the sole rulers of the cosmos as well. Let's get to it. In Rick Superior Ferris Hellfire and Rick Superior Ferris Unity Hellfire's life, in his early life, he was quietly raised in the future by his mother, known as Superior Woman, who is excuse me, who is a subordinate of the original Lord of Magic, where his mother raised him to become a very powerful, prominent superhero, and in doing so, even gave him the skill sets, and even gave him the skill sets and everything else, and also gave him the skill sets and everything else of hand-to-hand combat, hand-to-hand combat, swordsmanship in mastering his superpowers, super flight, super hearing, invulnerability, and superhuman reflexes, and also heat vision and freeze breath and origin energy, mastering it and controlling it as well at will. Rick Ferris grown too powerful and grown very too much too wisely as he traveled as he remained in the future of the sacred world for many he remained in the future of the war he remained lived in the future of the war for many years as he continued to learn more about sacred histories, wars and battles and everything else, and the demise of the original Lord of Magic, which the prophesized child and the universal heroes were able to put an end to, which created a power vacuum in the Shadow Empire, which created a power vacuum in the Shadow Empire, which created a power vacuum within the Shadow Empire, which forcing every other Shadow Empire warlord and commander to secretly forming alliances with ancient groups of supervillains such as the Order of the Five, the Order of the Six, the Order of the Seven, the Order of the Six, the Order of the Six, and the Order of the Seven, the Court of Nature, Sacred Circle, Order of the Four, the Galactic Unholy Alliance, and Sacred Five as well, to secretly supply them with destructive and more compatible technology. In return, these ancient groups of supervillains will continue supplying them with more worlds and with more planets that are under their sole control as well as Rick be able to get to and as Rick was able to begin to learn more about the calamity and the conflicts of the past and of the past of the sacred world and of the rest of sacred history. He decided to form a team of his own superheroes known as the Legion of Superheroes in the far future, which they did so by protecting worlds and cities and planets from being attacked by alien terrorists and by superhuman terrorists and by the forces of evil, which Rick and his form, which Rick and his operatives, which Rick and his associates began working together in order to protect the alien cities and the alien worlds and the rest of humanity in a process by fighting one of the worst forces, such as the group of dark druids, the group of dark witches, the group of dark faithful, and the group of evil warlords, commanders, evil warlocks, and dark mysterious witches and powerful dark evil forces of evil and very dangerous super criminals and very dangerous alien criminals and warlords and very powerful sinister forces as well within the sacred universe in the future in the future of the sacred world. Rick grew to become Origin Boy, which he uses his newfound abilities to save the rest of sacred history from monsters and from creatures, from monsters and from creatures as well. On the on the on the 29th of January, Rick and a Legion of Superheroes battled a gigantic monster known as the monster of power, which they continue to fight it up against it before it destroyed the entire magical city, and they continue able to destroy it with their newfound abilities, and they completely save the rest of the city and everything else, and the rest of the inhabitants completely thank the Legion of Heroes and Origin Boy for their great work and for their great heroic actions in saving the city and also the rest of their people and their kind. And Origin Boy reassured the inhabitants that the Legion of Heroes will do everything in its power to maintain and to restore peace and balance to the sacred world and to the rest of humanity as well. On the 14th of February, Rick returned to the sacred archives in order to know more about the mysterious and most powerful ancient being known as the Lord of Magic, who is more powerful and more dangerous and more very, very ancient, which he learned about his demise, which created a huge power vacuum, and in doing so, which also brought the next creation of the next new Lord of Magic as well, which Rick began to continue to study more about the recent new Lord of Magic and about the recent new power and about the new recent power of the new Lord of Magic, was more greater and more powerful and more destructibly immortal than the previous original Lord of Magic as well. We began to learn more about the new Lord of Magic and about his new ancient secret society and also about his group during at that time which Rick began able to develop a psychic secret link with the new Lord of Magic and also with his protégés, which made him connected with him forever, which made their connection more intertwined than ever before. And Rick decided that it's best that he heads back into the past in order to stay there, which was quietly meant to go back there in order to fight against the new serious threat. But before he can able to do that, he decided to finish up his business into the future, to making sure that the future is in good hands and make sure that it is well protected as well. On the 28th of February, Rick and the Legion of Heroes began fighting up against a group of evil troll monsters who were badly invading a village of warlocks and fairies and were badly invading a village of warlocks and fairies who were living all in harmony, and they decided to use their powers and their abilities to decimate these creatures and these beings in all one fell swoop, and the trolls were heavily decimated, and they were all heavily destroyed within the fears of the battle as well, within the fears of the battle of the carnage, and they completely remained decimated. And the villagers of the warlocks and the fairies were very completely happy as they told the Legion of Heroes and Origin Boy that they will remain allies to the Intergalactic Coalition, and they'll remain allies of the Four Nation Hunters, and they'll do everything in their greatest ability and power to make sure that there's peace within the sacred world and within the rest of the supernaturals, aliens, and superhumans as well, that the peace will coexist among those creatures and those inhabitants throughout the known universe and throughout the known worlds and throughout the rest of sacred history as well in the process. Rick shook hands with the Warlock and exactly reassured him that the Legion of Heroes will do everything in its power to make sure that the peace will remain so. Before, upon his departure, he told his comrades that he'll be headed back into the past because he feels like that's where he's meant to belong in order to protect, in order to save, in order to save sacred history from the worst of the worst, to make sure that nothing else alters, and to make sure nothing else alters sacred history or fates or wars or battle or conflicts. The Legion of Heroes members understood this, that Rick was meant to be in the past in order to make sure that everything else is well preserved and well protected the way it's meant to be, and that they completely shook hands with Rick and completely hugged him and told him that his place within the future is far open, and Rick completely agreed with that as well. On the 19th of March, Rick completely teleported into the central headquarters of the Universal Heroes base and completely reintroduced himself as Origin Boy and exactly told them about his intentions and about his goodwill. Universal Men exactly found it hard to believe, and so did Universal Boy and the rest of the Universal Heroes, which they decided in order to neutralize him and to test his DNA, in which his DNA exactly proves to be true, that Rick is indeed the son of Universal Boy, and Rick is indeed the son of Universal Boy, and Rick told him that he's here in order to fight up against the worst of the worst and up against the worst of the worst and up against the greatest threats that ever existed throughout sacred history, and is willing to make sure that they don't alter the future or the future of the war or the balance of powers war by any means necessary. And Universal Man completely agreed that it's best that they keep him in close bystander, and Universal Boy completely agreed that as well, that he'll be officially a member of the Universal Heroes as well. On the 19th of April, when the Universal Heroes and the World Heroes began a secretive ambush against the members of the Order of the 12 and against the members of the Order of the 12, and as well against the representative of the Star Empire warlords and commanders. The Universal Prince gladly stated that he completely had underestimated the Universal Heroes and that the Order of the 12 will never completely do that again. And Origin Boy was completely present within the ambush, as Origin Boy completely fought up against the assassins and the rest of the forces of evil, as the Universal Heroes and World Heroes able to capture several key enemies. The Universal Prince was able to successfully escape through a portal, which he managed to create by himself, and the rest of the members of the Order of the 12 were not exactly present, as some of them were completely present, but some of them completely escaped within the battle and were never exactly able to be seen again, as the Universal Heroes completely captured several key enemies, such as the Star Warlord representative and the other Star Commander representative, and they were able to take them in custody, as Rick and all the other heroes celebrate their greatest victory in saving sacred history and the rest of the known universe and the rest of humanity, that they've completely won against the battle as well. On the 20th of April, the Star Warlord began activating his end game in order to end the Sacred World, in order to end and annihilate all the worlds of the Sacred World and all the worlds of the Sacred World and the rest of the Sacred World's planets and humanity in the process, so that the evidence of their conquest and their failure doesn't come back to bite them when they return back to the central headquarters of the Empire, in order to tell the Star Prince and the Star Witch Queen that their greatest plan had become a greater failure. But in order to represent the Star Prince and the Star Witch Queen with new evidence that the destruction of the other worlds and planets will further solidify his conquest and also his greater rule to removing the Shadow Empire out of the way, meaning out of the competitive game, by driving them out of power, which he could secretly benefit from that as well. Despite that, the Universal Heroes and the World Heroes and the Universal Defending Heroes and the Universal Space Heroes split up their forces, split up their forces across the world, across the known worlds and across the known civilization, in trying to save the sacred world and the sacred universe from being destroyed and from being annihilated. And they fought up against the Star Warlord and took him down and destroyed his battleships. He destroyed his battle cruiser ship and able to destroy the battle cruiser ship that was quietly hovering aboard the atmosphere of the other worlds and planets, and completely taken him into custody. Despite that, on the 21, the Universal Heroes celebrated their greatest victory in defeating one of their greatest, most powerful enemy, and officially welcomed Origin Boy to the Universal Heroes, stating to him that he is officially a member of the Universal Heroes and that he is hereby a member of the family as well. And Rick felt very welcome, as he was very happy in order to save a greater victory, and he was able to help save the sacred worlds and the sacred planets and humanity in the process by a terrifying, deadlier, sinister threat than ever before. And he gladly shook hands with his father and hugged him, said to him that they'll forever bond with each other, no matter what. Exactly. On the 19th of May, Rick had a very powerful perversion of a dream of the new Lord of Magic interrogating a powerful dark warlock, asking him questions about the most powerful ancient relic, and in his dream he witnessed that the new Lord of Magic was more powerful and more dangerous than ever before, as he completely seen that he's very dangerous and very powerful, as he realized that the new Lord of Magic uses new dark powerful magical abilities in order to disintegrate the dark powerful warlock, and which he did so exactly. At which time his mother gladly returned to the Universal Heroes and told them that he'll be working with them here on out, and that she's broken off allegiances with the new Lord of Magic's organization, his cause, and his beliefs in trying to annihilate and wipe out the supernaturals and the aliens and the superhumans of the sacred world and of the rest of sacred existence in the process. And is willing to help the Four Nation Hunters by giving them information and great intelligence on the new enemy and also on the new sinister threat. Before that, she told them that there was a huge rift among the forces of evil that are fighting amongst themselves, with the new Lord of Magic known as Lord Jet, who was quietly fighting amongst his new protege known as Lord Clay, who are quietly fighting up against each other, and their followers and their organizations are hereby splintered. Their factions are quietly splintered, which created a huge fraction among the forces of evil as well. And Rick and the other Universal Heroes were well aware that the forces of evil are quietly splintered, and that their fractions have become rather very much fractioned, and rather fractioned, and the split of the other forces of evil fighting amongst each other and the other ancient organizations that are fighting amongst each other is about to create a hell lot of chaos and a hell lot of destruction as well. And since the Universal Heroes' disappearance within February, it has created another power vacuum within the Shadow Empire, and that the Universal Heroes are willing to do whatever it takes to maintaining the balance of power and to restore balance and harmony and sacred peace to the sacred world and to the rest of the known worlds in the process as well. On the 19th of June, Rick Ferris and his mother journeyed into the other worlds, where they witnessed a battle cruiser of the Shadow Empire warlord who was about to destroy the entire cities and civilization, and they decided, in order to save it together as mother and son, and they used their powers and their ability to fight up against the Shadow Empire warlord, and gladly took him down as the rest of the Intergalactic Coalition battleships and battle cruisers approached from the other side, and gladly took on the enemy and destroyed his battle cruiser as well. Before that, the Shadow Empire warlord told them as much as he knows about the two new Lord of Magic. He told them that there's another ancient secret society known as the Order of Death, which is quietly founded and led by Lord Clay, who is now the new Lord of Magic, and is willing to do whatever it takes that his plans get to bear fruit. Despite that, the Intergalactic Coalition sentenced the Shadow Empire warlord straightly into the Astral Prison to remain in custody for his crimes against the sacred world and against the rest of humanity and against the rest of the sacred world and against the rest of sacred peace as well. The Astral Prison is a prison designed to house super criminals and powerful evil dark druids, warlocks, witches, evil witches, warlocks, super criminals, and deadly warlords and commanders, and evil warlocks and evil witches and druids, and powerful, deadliest super criminals and super villains that ever existed throughout the rest of sacred history as well. There's also the Dark Ark and also the Sacred Prison, which is also designed to house super criminals and super villains and war criminals and powerful war fugitives from the sacred wars and from the sacred conflicts, which is also designed to house them as well. Far different than the Astral Prison as well, despite that. Despite that, they were able to sentence the Shadow Empire warlord straight into the Astral Prison and was able to remain in custody for his crimes. Despite that, Rick told his mother that the forces of evil are secretly converging and about to begin their own sinister plan, one way or another, which has to come to a full end. Despite that, no matter what, on the 19th of July, a group of powerful mortal dark magic users known as the Second began a powerful ancient ritual to activate a powerful dark crystal that could destroy worlds and planets and other civilization, which they use the dark crystal's power to destroy planet after planet. And Rick and the Universal and Rick and the World Heroes were forced to intervene in order to stop these powerful dark magic users, and they gladly did so by taking them down and by removing them out of the way. The battle lasted for days and for days as they continued to fight up against the most powerful dark magic users known as the Second, and they fought up against the dark magic users' bodyguards such as the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders, who they gladly took down and gladly beaten down as well. And their victory was quietly, they remained victorious as they were able to capture several key enemies within the battle. And Rick can use his new origin powers and ability to disable the crystal's power and energy source, and was able to destroy it within the process, thwarting the enemy's plans and also grand plan for total destruction and for total annihilation as well in the process. On the 19th of August, Origin Boy met up with Universal Man and Universal Boy and told them that he's been having dreams and powerful perversions and nightmares of the new little magic and of the other new little magic known as Lord Clay, interrogating powerful dark magic wizards and dark druids, asking them questions about ancient relics and ancient weapons. Despite that, Universal Man understood Rick's visions and perversion, as he told him that he also had the same nightmares and visions and nightmares because he shared a powerful psychic link with the original Lolo Magic. He was able to see what he sees, and he can see what he sees on the other side, which works in a two-way street in both ways, exactly as Universal Man was able to explain it. Despite that, Rick told them and he asked for them for solutions. From Universal Boy told Origin Boy that he needs to stay close in order to see everything that happens in that dream, and in order to report to them if anything like that ever happens again, that can exactly help them find the relics or the objects in any way. On the 19th of September, the World Heroes and Origin Boy journeyed into the ancient temples, unaware that those temples were quietly used as a base of an ambush by a powerful, sinister villain known as Green Man, who told the World Heroes and Origin Boy that the bad guys the masters had had enough of their interference in their great plan, and that this is the perfect time for them to be firmly wiped out and also to be firmly removed. The bad guys were heavily equipped with destructive Shadow Empire technology, very much equipped with destructive Shadow Empire technology and also greater resources. Despite this, Origin Boy marshaled up his troops in order to take down the super villains and the bad guys, and they gladly fought up against the worst of the worst, against the assassins, and gladly took them down, and they were able to beat them, able to capture several key enemies, and able to capture Green Man himself, and ultimately they sent him directly into the Astral Prison to remain in custody for their crimes against the rest of the sacred world and against the rest of humanity as well in the process. On the 19th of October, Rick Ferris meditated within the crystal room of the asteroid base, where he was able to concentrate his visions and perversions, and was able to see what the new Nolo Magic was quietly planning. But despite that, he saw nothing, and he was never able to predict nothing at all, and he was never able to see anything at all. Despite that, he realized that the new Lord of Magic was quietly realizing that he knows the link and the bond that they quietly shared, and that he knows that Rick is onto him as well. Meaning, in other words, he could use it against him as well in any different effective way. Despite that, Rick never exactly lost hope or anything else as he continued to meditating and as he continued to study more about the war and about the battle, as he never continued ever continue to never give up as well. On the 25th of November, Rick journeyed into the volcanic islands in order to study more about the ancient New World Magic and about his ancient secret society and everything else he can in order to learn more about on how to defeat them and how to stop them before they plant spirit fruit, and also learning more about another ancient secret society known as the Dark Order that is quietly founded and led by Red Bolt, who is the current leader of the Shadow Empire and who's willing to wage war with the Star Prince of the Star Empire for sole control over the Star Universe. And if the two empires wage war and literally have sole control over the Sacred Universe and over the Sacred Universe, it will exactly determine the fate. Who will exactly able to determine the fate. Who will exactly able to determine the fate, and who will be able to exactly determine the fate on whose sole dominance will remain over the known universe and over the rest of the other sacred universes as well. Despite that, Rick continued to study more and learn more about Lord Clay and about Lord Jet and about their power, their past, and their history as he continued to never give up as well. On the 15th of December, Rick returned to the asteroid base of the Universal Heroes and told them that he discovered a very powerful ancient history and a very powerful difficult history, and Universal Man told him and reassured him that the Universal Heroes are trying to do everything they can with the Four Nation Hunters to restore peace and balance right now at the state, create that the power vacuum of the Shadow Empire has been created, and that they're willing to do whatever it takes to restore the balance that the enemies and that the ancient secret societies of supervillains have managed to thwart and destroy. But despite that, they're willing to restore relations, they're willing to restore good relations and good harmony to the supernaturals, aliens, and superhumans by any means necessary, despite that their lives are in grave danger, in mortal grave danger from being extinct and from being annihilated. And despite that, Rick completely agreed, then that's where exactly his focus will remain. Despite that, guys, Origin Boy is very compassionate, very loving, very trusting, and very skillful in hand-to-hand combat, and also in greater intelligence and also greater in leadership. Very skilled in flight, super speed, super hearing, superhuman reflexes, invulnerability. He's extremely a powerful Origin that's able to live throughout the future for many years, learning more about his parents' history, about his mother and father, known as Superior Woman and Universal Boy, who fell in love with each other, and after all, they literally got separated and are secretly now back together. Despite that, he inherited his father and his mother's goodwill to make sure that he makes a greater difference to the sacred world and to the rest of humanity and to the rest of the known universe and to the rest of sacred history and to the rest of the sacred universe. He's very compassionate. He's a founder and leader of the region of superheroes, and is willing to do whatever it takes to restore harmony and balance to the sacred world. Very skilled in super hearing and in super sensing, very skilled in using origin energy and and magic all in one, very skilled in hand-to-hand combat, swordsmanship, tactician, very smart and very intelligent being and superhero, kind-hearted, very determined and very fearless in his love and very fearless in his commitment and his determination to make sure he makes a greater difference to stopping one of the greatest threats that ever existed throughout the rest of sacred history, such as the power of change, the new Lord of Magic, the Order of Power, the Sacred Founders, the Dark King, Dark King, Dark Grey, and the Court of Nature, the Sacred Circle, the Unholy Alliance, Sacred Five, Order of the Five, Order of the Six, Order of the Five, Order of the Six, and Order of the Seven, and the Galactic and the Galactic as well, and Order of the Four as well, willing to stop these ancient secret societies before they can exactly ascend and rise to power and become the sole rulers of the cosmos, and is willing to do whatever it takes to restore balance and relations to the supernaturals and to the aliens and to the superhumans as well. And is willing to make sure that the peace and balance is restored in the rightful way by by joining forces with the Four Nation Hunters in order to stop the monsters of the Dark Dimension from trying to destroy humanity and mankind. And he believes in the goals of the Universal Heroes and of the United Heroes and of the Four Nation Hunters, and he's willing to make sure they get to bear fruit, and he's willing to make sure he gets to make an everlasting difference, no matter what. Very skillful in hand-to-hand combat, very skillful in super hearing, super sight, super sensing, very skillful superhero in super speed, and very intelligent, kind, loving. He's actually the son of Universal Boy and the son of Superior Woman, who is a former subordinate and a former follower of the original Lolo Magic as well, who inherited many surnames such as Ferris, Unity, Hellfire, and Superior as well. Despite that, he's very powerful, very kind, very level headed, and very gifted with his powers and with his ability, trying to using them for the greater good, not for the greater evil, and very skillful and very powerful as well. Able to travel with super speed and super fight, very gifted with heat vision and freeze breath and all those powers. He's known as Origin Boy because of his powers and because of his ability, and he's a son of Universal Boy and the son of Superior Woman as well. Very kind and very greatly compassionate in his love for mankind and the rest of humanity as well. Well, guys, that's it for today's episode. I will exactly see you tomorrow as well. So take care and have a wonderful, blessed day and a very great day indeed. And have fun and enjoy yourself as well. And pursue your dreams and never give up. Very grateful for your support. Wish you the best as well. And continue to pursue your dreams no matter what. Have a blessed day and have a great day. See you tomorrow, guys. Take care. Bye.